Have you ever wondered, why do some people reach their goals while others give up after just a few days? Is it because they're luckier, smarter, have more opportunities? Number. The difference isn't in talent. It's not in circumstances. And it's definitely not in motivation. It's in one simple thing. They kept going. They kept going even when they were tired. They kept going even when no one believed in them. They kept going even when they lost interest, had no cheerleaders, and saw no visible results. And that persistence, quiet, steady, unglamorous, is what separates those who start from those who succeed. We live in a world where everything moves too fast. A video longer than 10 seconds is enough to make someone scroll away. A goal with no visible results after a week is enough to make us quit. No one teaches you how to keep going when the feeling fades. No one tells you that excitement is not a sustainable fuel. And no one emphasizes this enough. What gets you to the finish line isn't a strong start, it's not stopping, even when it feels like nothing is moving. In this journey, I'm not here to give you a few minutes of motivation. I'm here to rebuild from the root, to unpack the real reason you often start and stop, and most importantly, to help you create a new version of yourself, someone who doesn't rely on inspiration, someone who doesn't wait for perfection to begin, someone who can persevere, even when no one's watching. If you're tired of starting over, again and again, if you've promised yourself, this time I'll follow through, only to end up back at square one, then maybe it's time to pause and truly listen. Not to me, but to yourself, deep inside, to the part of you that's been disappointed too many times, but hasn't fully given up. Today, we start over, not with lofty goals, but with one intention only, to become someone you can trust. We often picture success as a dazzling moment. Spotlights, applause, a milestone everyone sees and exclaims, "Wow, you did it!" But you know what? Success doesn't start with glory. It starts with repetition, with small, consistent actions, unseen, unpraised, but done anyway, every single day. Successful people aren't always excited. They have tired mornings, doubtful days, and moments of frustration. The only difference is, they still show up. They still write, still train, still learn, still take each step in the system they've committed to, without reminders, without waiting for a mood. Because they understand one thing. Emotions are unreliable, but habits are dependable. I used to think that to maintain a habit, I needed constant inspiration. But then I realized, inspiration is like the wind. It comes quickly and disappears even faster. You can't build the house of your life on wind. You have to build it on consistent, repeated action, small but solid. Take a look at yourself. Maybe you started strong before. You wrote down goals. You told your friends. You declared, "I'm going to change my life." But just a few days later, life returned to its old rhythm. A cold morning, a stressful meeting, a discouraging message, and you stopped? I'm not saying this to judge you. I'm saying it so you stop blaming yourself and start again, but from a stronger foundation. Not, every restart makes me stronger, but every time I keep my promise to myself, I become more grounded. You don't need to start again in a grand way. You just need to find a steady rhythm. Even if it's small, even if it's slow, as long as it's unbroken. Because, as you already know, it's not the fastest who finishes. It's the one who doesn't quit that's the one who truly finishes. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I keep repeating the same cycle? Start, feel excited, procrastinate, then quit. Even after reading books, watching motivational videos, and having a clear plan, you still find yourself stuck? Here's the truth. You're not lazy. You're not weak. You're simply being controlled by something invisible. Let's call it resistance. It doesn't show up looking scary. It comes disguised in perfectly reasonable whispers. You can do it later. I'm not ready yet. Taking one day off won't hurt. And when you listen to it, one day turns into two, then a week, and you're back at square one. Resistance isn't just laziness. It's fear in disguise. Fear of failure. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of being judged. Fear of starting and not being able to keep going. And if you're a perfectionist, resistance becomes even stronger because you want everything to be perfect from the beginning. And when you don't feel good enough, you stop. Perfectionism feels like a drive to improve, but in reality, it's a trap that keeps you stuck at the starting line. Another hidden enemy. Procrastination from overwhelm. When you look at the entire project or a big goal, your brain hits the runaway button. Why? Because it can't see a clear path forward. You're not lazy, you're just too overwhelmed to begin. Do you recognize yourself in these patterns? That's why you can't rely on willpower alone to push through. Because resistance doesn't go away. You can only weaken its power with clarity, simplicity, and small actions. In the next parts, I'll show you how to face resistance, not by forcing yourself, but through systems, habits, and incredibly simple yet effective strategies. But first, give yourself permission to forgive. Not because you quit, but because now you understand why you did. And that, in itself, is already a big step forward. At this point, you might be wondering, so how do I become more consistent, not dependent on emotions, not constantly pulled back by resistance? The answer is this. Don't rely on willpower. Redesign your system. The truth is, no one has endless willpower every day. Even the people you admire, authors, athletes, entrepreneurs, they don't live off inspiration. They live by systems. They operate in environments designed to keep them on track. You want to write every day? Don't ask, do I feel inspired today? Ask, do I have a fixed time to write? Is my writing space ready? You want to read every night? Is your book next to your bed? Or buried somewhere under clutter? Willpower is fuel, but systems are the tracks. Without tracks, the fuel just burns into nowhere. A good system helps you succeed without needing to try harder, because everything is already set up for the right actions to happen at the right time naturally. And just as important, your environment. What kind of environment are you living and working in? A phone constantly lighting up with endless notifications? A messy desk that makes you want to do everything except work? A group of friends who constantly complain, procrastinate, and mock anyone trying to change? Your environment doesn't just influence you, it shapes you. But here's the good news. You can redesign your environment, one small step at a time. Organize your space. Put your notebook right on your desk. Turn off social media notifications. Post uplifting reminders where you'll see them. Instead of mindlessly scrolling, follow channels that awaken, grow, and move you to action. If you can't change the people around you, start with yourself with how you react and what you choose to feed your mind. You'll be surprised. Just one small change in your environment can create powerful momentum in your behavior. And when behavior changes, habits change. When habits change, results change. And eventually, your life changes. What comes to mind when you hear the word discipline? Force? Struggle? A lack of freedom? We often fear discipline because we think it will suffocate our lives. But the truth is quite the opposite. Discipline doesn't take away your freedom. Discipline is the path to freedom. Think about it. When you can control your actions, you're no longer ruled by emotions. You're not swept away by social media, procrastination, or random waves of laziness. You're no longer a slave to moods or motivation. You become your own leader. And that feeling, the feeling of being in charge of yourself, is one of the most powerful and peaceful feelings in the world. But where does discipline begin? Not with grand resolutions, not with a burst of inspiration. It starts with the small things. Getting up on time without hitting snooze. Making your bed in the morning. Drinking water instead of grabbing your phone first thing. Writing just 3 lines in your journal at night even when you'd rather skip it. Every small act of keeping your promise builds trust in yourself brick by brick. You can't trust yourself through words alone. You have to act consistently to prove, I'm someone I can count on. And when you keep your promises, even the smallest ones, you're building something no one teaches in school: inner trust. Discipline isn't about doing it right. It's about choosing to stand by the person you want to become, even when you see no results yet. There will be days you're tired, days you fall short. But if you keep returning to the basics, writing a single sentence, learning a little, quietly keeping your commitment, then you are winning. Not through big dramatic breakthroughs, but through quiet consistency repeated like a steady, unstoppable flow. And one day when you look back, you'll realize you've become a completely different person. Not because of luck, but because of the trust you built bit by bit through discipline every day. In our minds, we often picture success as something grand, big, sparkly, worth bragging about. And so, we believe that to achieve something great, we must begin with something equally big. But reality is different. True success doesn't start with a giant leap. It starts with a very small step, repeated daily long enough to become strength. One page of writing, one paragraph read, one time saying no to a bad habit, one light 10-minute workout. It may sound small, but that's how every transformation begins. Do you know why? Because small steps don't scare you. They don't trigger your brain's defense mechanisms. You don't need to be brave, you just need to be willing to do a little. Small steps are also how you outsmart resistance, the thing that's delayed you so many times. You tell yourself, just 5 minutes, then I can stop. But once you begin, you often do more than you thought. That's the power of a gentle start. And more than that, every time you complete a small action, your brain releases dopamine, the reward hormone. Even something simple, like drinking enough water or crossing off a to-do item, gives you a sense of satisfaction. Those little rewards aren't meaningless. They're fuel, the source of real, lasting motivation from within. Many people keep chasing inspiration somewhere far away, in a video, a book, or an expensive course. But in truth, sustainable inspiration comes from action. Every time you do something right, no matter how small, you awaken belief and the feeling that I'm on the right path. You don't have to change your whole life in a week. You just need to change the rhythm of a single day and stick with it. Someone who writes 1 page a day will have 365 pages in a year. Someone who works out for 15 minutes every morning will be healthier than the one who trains for 3 hours, then quits after a week. Success doesn't ask you to be extraordinary. It only asks that you repeat the right actions every day without quitting. Do you have a dream, a goal, a clear vision of the life you want to create? Good. But that alone isn't enough. Dreams don't need to be protected with promises. Dreams need to be protected with systems. Without them, your dreams will slowly be worn down by busyness, mood swings, and tiny daily temptations, until even you forget what you once wanted. So, what is a system? It's a habit with a clear schedule, repeated daily. It's a personal rule, like no checking my phone in the morning until I've written 10 lines in my journal. It's fixed actions bound to a time slot, not based on feelings or inspiration. You want to read more? A system isn't read when I have free time. A system is, I read 10 pages every night at 9 p.m. You want to create content consistently? A system is, from 8 to 9 a.m. every day is script writing time. No meetings, no messages. You want to eat healthier? A system is, every Sunday night, I plan and prep meals for the next 3 days. A system frees you from making daily decisions, because the more decisions you have to make, the easier it is to give up. If you feel like you lack discipline, maybe you're just lacking a clear system to hold on to. And guess what? A good system also needs a backup plan. Can't run because it's raining? Do a 15-minute home workout? Forgot your morning journaling? Write 3 lines during lunch. Too tired to study for an hour? Study for just 10 minutes to stay on track. Don't let one small hiccup break your entire rhythm. Flexibility is what makes a system last. Finally, track your journey. Mark each day you stick to a habit. Write down the moments you overcame procrastination. And reward yourself with a relaxing walk, a cup of your favorite tea, or simply a kind word from yourself. Because you, the one showing up every day, deserve to be recognized long before any results appear. There will be days when you're utterly exhausted. Days when you don't want to do anything. No motivation, no inspiration, no reason strong enough to get up. And in your mind, familiar thoughts echo, maybe I should just quit. This probably won't lead anywhere. I'm just not cut out for this. Pause. Right in that moment, don't react from emotion. Sit down, take a deep breath, and ask yourself one simple question. Why did I start this? Was it because you were tired of living at the mercy of fleeting inspiration? Because you wanted to change your life? To do something just for you? Or maybe it was simpler because you didn't want to look back 5 years from now and see yourself stuck in the same place? That reason, however small, is the seed of hope. And that seed only survives if you water it every day with action, even the tiniest action. Sometimes, you don't give up because you're weak. You give up because you forget why you started. But every time you remember, you reignite the flame. It doesn't have to burn brightly. It just needs to stay alive. And if you're in a phase where you're doing so much, trying so hard, and still seeing no results, please don't rush to declare failure. You might simply be in the results blind zone like planting a seed. You water it, tend the soil, let the sun in, but the surface remains still. You don't see sprouts, no applause, no confirmation that you're doing the right thing. But the strongest life always begins in silence, beneath the surface. Success doesn't come on the day you're praised. It comes on the day you didn't give up when no one even knew you were trying. So if today you feel like letting go, don't act on it just yet. Just return to that moment of resolve. That moment you said, this time I'm going all the way. Come back to that reason. And start again with just one small step. Just don't stop. You've come this far with me, listening through each part, from why you often give up, to how to build systems, habits, discipline, and even how to navigate those moments when you hit rock bottom. Now, pause for a moment and think about yourself. You don't need to be better than anyone else. You don't need a flashy start. You just need to be honest with yourself and stay committed to what you truly want. Life doesn't reward those who start early. Life rewards those who keep going when others have stopped. Starting today, choose just one small thing and do it every day. Write 3 lines. Move your body for 10 minutes. Turn off your phone for 1 hour each night. It doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be consistent enough to send a clear message to your brain. I'm changing. You don't need inspiration. You need repeated action. You don't need a miracle. You need to believe in the small step that quietly leads you to something bigger. And remember, you are not alone. I, and millions of others, have fallen, started over, doubted ourselves. But the difference came from one thing. We didn't stop. No one wins because they never failed. They win because they persisted longer than their old selves. You'll be the same. You don't have to do more, you just have to not stop. Now, turn this video off. Pick one small action. Do it. Not because you feel like it, but because you've decided, I'm someone who keeps going. And just that decision is enough to change your entire life.